10 greatest thinkers, and some of these we saw in our IQ deal. Confucius, Plato, Aristotle, St. Thomas Aquinas, Nicholas Copernicus, Francis Bacon, Sir Isaac Newton, Voltaire, Immanuel Kant, Charles Darwin. These were all guys that didn't have to hunt for money. They were given, they were looking for sponsors. This is not you. None of you guys, except for, and when I said this with Sip was here, Sip says, well, and I think that maybe I fall in this chart. I think maybe I could be on this chart. I think I'm smarter than some of these guys. And so, you know, but we didn't add him anyway. So, but other than that, you know, these guys, you're not them. Moses spent 40 years wandering through the desert, probably looking for a business banker who would call him back. I told you, a good friend of mine who was a senior VP of Bank of America told me that an average business manager, bank manager at B of A gets between 15 and 20,000 calls a year. How can you possibly return 15 to 20,000 calls? You can't. So who do you call back? The one that called 45 times. The greasy wheel gets, the noisy wheel gets the grease. Yeah, squeaky wheel, excuse me.
Can I ask you a question? You said that you had somebody, Dan, that put on like a predictive dialer and kept leaving
Correct.
messages.
That was Lucinda Burke.
Yeah. What did she put on the recording? I mean, like, did she have a predictive dialer doing it, or she called it that many times?
No, the predictive dialer called.
And just left a message?
And said, this is L.B. Burke. She changed it. She could do it. I can't. Her voice was like this, but she'd go, this is L.B. Burke. Get back to me as soon as you can. If not, I'll call back ASAP. And she called back. That meant 4 seconds later she called back. And so she used to put 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 messages on the fucking phone. Now, if somebody calls you 100 times,
every day.
I mean, what is it with this bitch? I mean, and you return the call. And Bruce will tell you a story when we were selling, and he was selling Fortune 500 companies, and he was calling Kraft, the CFO of Kraft. The 100th time he called the CFO of Kraft, he took his call. Now, was that a coincidence, or was the secretary and or the CFO of Kraft also keeping track of the calls?
Somebody was.
100.
I've done that myself when I was 19. It's a good better technique. You program Skype, then program to just mouse click on a button, and it keeps calling. People owed me money, so they gave it to me eventually because their phone line was just busy 24/7.
Okay, well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Most business banks think they can just pat you on the head and toss you a bone every now and then. We'll let you sit up front and hang your head out the window. Why are these banks putting all these ads in the paper? Because they got fucking money. Why do they advertise? I used to look, opening new branches. This is in America. It doesn't work as effectively in Europe. Banks open new branches. What happens? They have no customers. They got a pot full of money and no customers. And I for those of you that aren't old enough, but Johnny Carson used to be the host of The Tonight Show, great comedian. And he opened up a bank in Beverly Hills. And it was opening on a Monday, whatever the date. And I drove in from Rolling Hills, Palos Verdes in my limo, and we got there early because we wanted to beat the traffic. And I told my driver to wake me up at 10